Sandy and her daughters Molly and Frank share a normal morning filled with friendly bickering and school preparation. Later, Sandy hosts a birthday party where Molly impresses guests with her magic tricks. However, Molly is apprehensive about moving into the city. Sandy and her children arrive in New York City amidst anxieties of a new city, life, and the looming shadow of their parents' divorce. Encouraged by Molly, Sandy decides to give her new life time. Meanwhile, Rose fondly reminisces about Frank's grandmother's proficient French despite her academic shortfalls, indicating a softer side to her character. Rose helps Sandy secure a job interview at the Women's Center. Meanwhile, Aram is reminded that he should not stay contented with his job at the coffee shop given his qualifications. Sandy prepares for her job interview by emphasizing her organizational skills, love for sports, and ability to manage kids and work simultaneously. The incident gives an insight into Sandy's resilience and her journey back into professional life after divorce. In the scene, Aram attends a job interview at the Women's Center. His candor about his feelings towards women and past relationships grants him relatability. Sandy, on the other hand, discusses her previous relationship, hinting at her ongoing struggle to find meaning after a breakup. In this episode, Aram is trying to find his way in life after his French wife leaves him. His friend, Mitchell, introduces Aram to Sandy, who's looking for an apartment. Sandy's experience of their meeting causes her to quickly secure a place for herself and her kids. The scene ends with her sharing that she found a job of fact-checker at SNN. Mitchell, noticing Sandy's quick recovery from her divorce, suggests that a new relationship could further heal her. However, Sandy dismisses the idea. The conversation takes a surprising turn when Sandy identifies the man Mitchell had in mind for her as Aram, the man from the coffee shop below her new apartment. Sandy attempts to comfort Frankie about an incident at school and then hesitatingly brings up her plan of dating again. Sandy's children react with a mixture of surprise and curiosity, and Sadie asks a blunt question about sex, leaving Sandy flustered. In an attempt to adapt to their new life in New York, Sandy takes a job in a self-defense class and brings her children along. The unconventional class makes everyone uncomfortable due to the explicit content presented. At the uncomfortable self-defense class, everyone learns how to respond to various offensive scenarios. The class ends with a deep, feminist monologue about the collective anger and resentment of all women who faced injustice, both minor and major, throughout history. In this chaotic self-defense class, Kelly gets encouraged to tap into collective female anger and address it towards Bob, the perf substitute. Later, Wyatt and Brad argue over whose job contributes more to society, self-defense instructor or an actor. While self-reflecting, Kelly apologizes to Wyatt for her previous outburst at him during their self-defense class. Wyatt, seeing her sincerity, accepts her apology. At this time, Wyatt also asks Kelly to babysit Frankie, hinting that he trusts her after her work at the Women's Center. Frankie amusingly suggests her mom has a date, learning slang words from her friend at school, Olivia. Roberto has a deep discussion with his rabbi about life, while Wyatt leaves his children Sadie and Frankie with Kelly. Kelly is initially shocked about Sadie's emergency surgery but quickly discovers it was for a pet bird. Roberto, amusingly paranoid about being seen with the female skeleton, explains how he uses it to understand his patient's bone structures. Meanwhile, Kelly takes care of Wyatt's children, Frankie and Sadie, who want to play video games but she restricts their time. Roberto and Kelly talk about their personal lives as Kelly looks after Wyatt's children. He compliments her beauty and expresses curiosity about her life. Meanwhile, Kelly shares her past hobbies and her current job situation. Wyatt makes a snide remark about hoping to have a real job by the time he is Kelly's age, rubbing salt into her existing insecurities about her professional life. Roberto and Kelly banter, and there's talk of Roberto's soothing techniques. In a game, Sadie plays a horrifying scenario that leaves the younger, naive kid scared. Kelly steps in, noting that it's getting late, curbing the scary storytelling. See Roberto, Kelly, Sadie, Frankie hobby. The chocolate bars seem to wreak havoc as throw-up threats are made. Sadie plays another of her pranks that disgusts everyone, leading Kelly to rush the kids off to bed. Subsequently, a bizarre encounter in a taxi with a man named Hobby who weeps over his personal woes. Figuring out the meaning of his life, Hobby discusses his emotional state with Kelly in a cab. At home, Roberto and Sadie pull another prank and pretend they found their mom dead in the morning. Kelly wakes up flustered, realizing she fell asleep next to her cab driver, Hobby, who is now her children's babysitter. In the morning, a hungover Sandy asks Aram to take her kids to school. At work, she fears she might lose her job, but is instead asked to write, something that gives her a boost of confidence. Frankie, in his childishness, suggests Sandy make "suck it" her catchphrase. As Sandy heads to work, Frankie compliments her, stating she has a face for TV. Later, Aram and Sandy share personal experiences where Aram reveals he's stuck in a complex situation involving his fake wife Alice, who used him for a green card. Aram's parents question his decision to accept Sandy's offer to become a full-time nanny, implying that it isn't a respectable job. Aram, however, feels important in this role given Sandy's recent divorce and her busy schedule due to a new job. Despite their objections, he asserts this isn't a permanent choice but a means for him right now to earn a living while bringing value to someone's life. While Daphne questions Sandy's judgment of men, Sandy receives a text from Aram with updates about her kids. Even though to some people Aram's job may not seem significant, Sandy appreciates his diligence and attentiveness in caring for her children. Daphne humorously suggests Sandy has feelings for Aram, much to Sandy's denial. While Sandy goes on another date, Aram is left at home to entertain her kids. In a phone update from Aram, she learns they're playing American Idol. Meanwhile, Sandy's date, Frank, opens up about Mitch's divorce, labeling it as weird. Sandy feels otherwise, having normalized the situation as part of her life now. The next scene sees Sandy coming home late after dealing with a serious case at work. To ease her stress, Aram prepares dinner for her based on what he learned from Top Chef. Meanwhile, he entertains the idea of Frank taking Sandy to a fight thanks to free tickets, especially since the kids will be with their dad over the weekend. Sandy and Aram continue to develop their bond as they share thoughts on her past relationship with Frank. Aram then bumps into Guile from Roscoe Mathis, reminding him of a past job interview. Aram encounters Guile, who questions his decision to turn down a job at Roscoe Mathis. His reasons are rooted in focusing on people that positively influence his life, Sandy and her family. As they retire for the night, Aram confesses his love for Sandy's kids. The evening winds down with Aram engaging lightheartedly with Sandy's children. Their joy is intercepted by Guile questioning Aram's presence in the house. A confrontation ensues between Sandy and Guile over the contentious separation and rights in the household. Guile returns to reconnect with Sandy, claiming to miss the life they shared. Sandy, unimpressed, tells him they don't need him anymore. Frustrated at Guile's audacity to manipulate the situation, Aram defends Sandy, accusing Guile of being a disgrace. Aram steps up to defend Sandy, throwing Guile out with scathing words. After the confrontation, it is revealed that Aram is planning on asking Sandy out, despite his friends teasing about her being older and a mother of two. Despite his busy schedule, Aram decides to attend Sandy's showcase where various performers present their favorite scenes from iconic works of theater and film. In the crowd, a friend spots Aram, commenting on his appearance. At Sandy's showcase, performers reenact scenes from movies like Top Gun and Platoon. Following the show, Sandy and her friends express their appreciation to Aram for attending. In a playful conversation, they discuss the strangest places they've been, including a refrigerator and the ocean. Sandy meets up with Alice, her ex, who expresses regret about how she handled their breakup and her manipulative use of sex. Later, Sandy receives mixed reactions from her friend about her date with Aram, suggesting she didn't give the younger man a fair chance. After their intimacy, Aram stays over at Sandy's. When Frank wakes up and sees them, he innocently mistakes their cuddling for sex. Sandy clears things up, and Aram expresses his liking for her to Frank. Nonetheless, Frank seems skeptical of Aram's reliability and intentions. Sandy's kids question Aram about his relationship with their mom. Aram stumbles through an awkward explanation. Later, Frank calls Aram Sandy's rebound, suggesting she's now free to meet a real man. But Sandy appears to have genuine feelings for Aram, surprising Frank. Amid constant cynicism from his roommate, Aram steps up to defend his burgeoning relationship with Sandy. Later at Sandy's parents' house, they're drawn back into adult reality when her father shares too much information about his upcoming medical procedure in front of the kids. However, Aram still manages to find romantic moments amidst the awkwardness. Aram and Sandy celebrate Aram's birthday with her family. Everyone exchanges gifts, including an antique butterfly decoration from Sandy's mother. However, the joyous occasion takes a turn when Aram suddenly feels nauseous. Sandy and new babysitter Aram have obviously grown closer. When the family gathers again, Sandy's glowing demeanor is attributed to her budding relationship with Aram. Despite some stunned reactions about their age gap, Sandy introduces Aram to her family. In the 37th scene, Sandy and Aram address the elephant in the room, their stark age difference. While Sandy's son, Scott, teases them for their romantic behavior, Aram expresses that he's content with his life and doesn't feel the typical urges of someone his age. The topic of future children comes up and Sandy candidly talks about aging. In this scene, Sandy and Aram confess their love for each other, promising to take things slow. However, Sandy suddenly starts to look pale while Aram enjoys the new spark in their relationship. Later, Sandy attempts to approach a serious conversation about their relationship, ultimately criticizing Aram's taste in books and questioning their maturity compatibility. Sandy announces that she's pregnant, which puts Aram into shock initially, but then he seems thrilled by the news. Despite the unexpected twist, he is keen on embracing fatherhood and insists it's a positive development in their relationship. He even imagines their child having Sandy's brown eyes. The couple discusses potential baby names as Sandy's pregnancy is confirmed. They are soon informed that Sandy has had an ectopic pregnancy, not a viable one. Shocked, Sandy blames herself for thinking it was a good idea for them to have a baby considering their age difference and Aram's living situation. Aram supports Sandy by suggesting they find out what they did wrong. Aram and Sandy experience tension in their relationship after a traumatic false pregnancy. When Sandy voices self-esteem issues, Aram contests her negative self-assessment, urging her to admit her genuine feelings for him. Struggling, Sandy labels herself as an old ageist. Aram and Sandy end their relationship, acknowledging its future impossibility. A poignant graduation ceremony follows where Sadie receives an award for her science project. Meanwhile at work, Ken announces an organizational change, stressing that change is always happening and often necessary. In this scene, during a school tour, Aram discusses the concept of global communities with the kids. Later, Olivia quips about Aram's popularity with the children. Meanwhile, Daphne is celebrated at work for her new role as anchor, and her co-worker Ken says he'll miss her. Sandy bumps into Aram at a restaurant where they discuss their recent developments. Aram then introduces Sandy to his adopted son, Zeke, whom he met in Bangladesh, expressing his journey of fatherhood. Touched, Sandy comments on Aram's likely excellence as a dad. Aram shows up with Zeke and joins Sandy and her family at the restaurant. They inquire about each other's lives, and Sandy's mother, who remembers Aram well, invites him to join them. The older teens welcome Zeke, who is eager to play with them. Aram unexpectedly comes across Sandy and her family at a restaurant. After some initial introductions, Sandy's mother recognizes Aram from his previous visit to their home and invites him to join them.